The GooYouWiki world and the educational revolution. The GooYouWiki world, what I call GYWW, is a revolution of many kinds. These organizations, these companies have changed the world with others as well. They've changed the world of education. If you look at this image in the Encyclopedia Britannica, it's not that imaginative. But if you go to Google Image Browser, put Fluorine C60 or Buckyball into it, what you get are pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages, and you even get rotating buckyballs. That's a revolution, a triple revolution. Google, a paradigm shift in seeking, finding, accessing information. YouTube, you can create your own imaginative audio-visual material, and it's pretty inexpensive. It's democratized filmmaking. Wikipedia fosters passion to create and assemble globally accessible network information. So what we're doing is creating a cache of URL links, which I'll talk about. Now, Pasteur said that in the fields of observation, chance favors only the prepared mind. Now, what did he mean by that? He meant education. And that means we start at school, where we start to get educated. Now, I actually went to school. Hard to believe. And when I was a kid, I didn't want to be a scientist. What I really wanted to be was Superman. And I've got proof. Here I am. I'm trying to fly. I had a problem flying, so I had to do other things. I did gymnastics, and I played tennis, and I acted in a play, Henry V. And in fact, I'll blow this up. The guy in front, he became an actor. And you know what? Now he's 5,000 years old, and I'm a bit younger than he is. Ian and I were in the same year, fantastic actor, and here he is when he visited FSU. Now, I also did graphics when I was at university. I made posters and tickets and brochures. I was the art editor of the university student magazine, and I did the covers. I did tickets, here we go. And my first award was not for science, it was for this design. And in fact, it got into the newspaper. And I used to look like this. Hard to believe, I know. Well, there were posters of many kinds, and I did all that. But there were other things as well. I had Meccano. Meccano was very important to me. I made things with nuts and bolts. And here's an ad from those days. Meccano boys and girls are keen, ambitious, and inventive. No boy or girl who follows the Meccano hobby can be a bad boy or bad girl. So that's what I did. I made things with my hands, with nuts and bolts, the way that things are put together in engineering. And today, I put things together with atoms and electrons. I was interested in architecture as well, and I had a camera. Now, I knew everything about my camera. Well, just look at this. It's photography in the old days. And in fact, look at what you had to do. I opened it up, put the film in, worked out the distances, worked out the exposures, and you had to do all this. In fact, just to take the picture itself. We're not finished yet. You had to take the negative out and produce it, and then take the negative and make the positives. And to do all that, you had to be a very good incentive. And I had one, and I married her. Okay. But today, all we have to do is this. And you've lost everything. Who knows what's going on inside there? Many people don't, and I'm not sure I do, but I knew everything about my camera. Now, what is the situation as it was? Well, in the old days, we had encyclopedias, and in fact, you had to find out what you wanted in there. And it was quite difficult. You sort of had to know ahead of time. And I know it's in there somewhere. But today, things have changed. Now, in what sense? Well, the first thing we have to think about is the three senses. Common sense. Common sense says that the sun goes round the earth. Who agrees with me? Well, it was here this morning, it's over there now. Common sense indicates that the sun goes round the earth. It's uncommon sense, which tells us that the earth is turning on its axis, that makes it seem as though the sun is going around us. And that is uncommon sense. The uncommon sense and bravery of Copernicus, Galileo, and Giordano Bruno, who was burnt to death for claiming that. And in fact, if you want to know what it's like, watch that film. Who knows the evidence that the earth is turning on its axis? 90% have accepted the earth revolves around the sun without evidence. And that's interesting, because you should ask yourself, how much else have you accepted without knowing the evidence? Think about it. It's a serious issue. Now, today, nonsense is common. This is the Kentucky Fried Creation Museum in Kentucky. $27 million. And school kids in busloads are going into this, and other groups as well. What do they say? Did humans live with dinosaurs? God made Adam and Eve on the same day as land animals, so dinosaurs and people lived at the same time. What did they originally eat? Well, before Adam sinned, all animals, including dinosaurs, were vegetarians. Well, look at those teeth. Not really vegetarian teeth, are they? And of course, there are all these things. Those are herbivores. What happened to the dinosaurs that didn't go into Noah's Ark? They were drowned in Noah's flood about 4,350 years ago. And many were buried and preserved as fossils. And there's a Noah's Ark there. Believe it or not. And here it is. And in fact, Noah's there. And he's Scottish. He said, there's a big boat coming, a flood coming. And we got to build a big boat. And here's a child wondering what to believe. Now, what are the links with that? Well, basically, there are issues involved if you don't have a good education. Many nurses have poor mathematical skills. They do not know where to put the decimal point. The patient might get 10 times more or 10 times less than they should. If you're lucky, it could be more than that. Those are the sort of issues we've got to realize are now very serious. Now, the other thing is, what about science itself? Aspects of science. It's a body of knowledge, evidence-based knowledge of the way the world works. The application of that knowledge, technology, and then the many ways in which new knowledge is uncovered, the scientific method. But there's something more important. It used to have another name, natural philosophy. And because science has become so useful, that philosophical, cultural aspect has been forgotten. And most important aspect by far is that natural philosophy is the only philosophical concept we have devised to determine truth with any degree of reliability. And the ethical purpose of education must involve the teaching of our young people how they can decide what they're being told is actually true. The teaching of a skeptical, evidence-based assessment of all claims, without exception, is a fundamental intellectual integrity issue. Without evidence, anything goes. Think about it. It's all about synthesis. Well, what do I mean? I mean that you bring things together, in chemistry in particular, but also other places as well. Carbon dioxide and water in the presence of photon gives us a carbohydrate. And then the carbohydrate in the presence of an enzyme gives us alcohol. And that's my favorite laboratory. Here we see a glass of alcohol, and here I am enjoying the fruits of synthesis. So that's what creativity is about. We bring art, science, music, writing, film, humor, graphic, bring them all together. And creativity by bringing things from whatever we know about. Now, the big breakthrough was Gutenberg. Before Gutenberg, there was almost no education. When the printing press came along, there was now possibility for everybody to be educated, and it's credited to Gutenberg. And it's estimated that before 1500, there were only 30,000 books in the whole of Europe, and 50 years later, 12 million. So that was very important. The power of the media, well, let's think about it. Now, my friend Kappa said, I should like to see a different emphasis put on the teaching of science. An emphasis that would reflect the truth that the sciences are different from nearly all other subjects taught. Languages, literature, religion, law, art, music, even mathematics. All are human constructions. These are so because men made them so. But science deals with the natural world, which men did not make at all. And the honest way to teach them is, these things are probably so because of this and that. The student will become a scientist all the faster by doubting the teacher and looking at the evidence. No lesson is learned so well as the one you teach yourself. And for students who will not become scientists, the habit of asking questions like, who says so? How do you know? What's missing? What are the assumptions? What is the scale? Is all about the same thing. Will make them more receptive to the message of science for the rest of their lives. Now, not all those who wander are lost. A line from the Lord of the Rings. I'm going to tell you a story. I guess it's my story. I walked into Sheffield Library and there was Graphics magazine. I thought, this is my magazine. And then, when I became a researcher, I was interested in the vibration of the long chain. Quantum picture, classical picture. My friend David Walton had developed a method of stringing carbon chains together by oxidative coupling. That's how we made the carbon chain. And using this telescope, we detected AC5N in the space between the stars. We detected that 7 and 9 carbon atoms. Then they were discovered in a star. And I'm thinking, well, that's interesting. And then Bob Curl invited me to Rice after a conference. I thought it was a really good bookshop in Houston. And then he said, go and see Rick Small. He's doing something interesting. As Rick was jumping over the apparatus, I thought, maybe if we change the aluminium to graphite, we could create the condition in a carbon star and create the carbon chains. That simple idea was put to the test with some great students, Jim Heath and Sean O'Brien and Yuan Liu, and we discovered there was a very strong signal for C60 plus. The clue was in graphics for me. In this magazine, there was a Buckminster Fuller's dome, and in fact, as you well know, that was correct. It was a buckyball was discovered, and Don Hoffman and Wolfgang Kretschmer extracted it, and here's our team at Sussex, where we detected the NMR. C60 came from outer space by simulating the chemistry in the star. And I named it after Buckminster Fuller because of the clue from that picture. Not all who wander lost. Now, I made a prediction in 1987. The present observations indicate that C60 might survive in the general interstellar medium, probably is the iron C60 plus, protected by its unique ability to survive processing so drastic most, if not all, other molecules are destroyed. And it goes on a little bit more. And now, in July, John Myers' group in Basel have detected C60 plus in space. And here are the two signals. Spot on. The laboratory measurement. They're spot on. So C60 is all over space. Isn't that fantastic?